sweetheart. It's Bubby. Look forward to talking to you as usual. Lovely.
I used to collect wine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I was made 1,000 bottles, you know.
Wow.
Really?
You have a whole cellar?
I had a whole cellar.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
What to you is like what makes a good wine?
That it follows the tradition from which it comes. Each wine in each wine region has its own personality.
Mm-hmm.
And those that achieve the personality and the longevity, not longevity necessarily, but some wines for sure, but it reaches its personality, it reaches the ultimate that it can be. That's a good wine.
Mm-hmm. One time I was at dinner with my grandparents, and they were like looking at wines, and one of them said it had the flavor of cat urine.
I don't think. I think that wine might have been a failure.
Yeah, it didn't hold up to the
wine,
tradition.
Yeah.
My question was, how do they know what cat urine tastes like in order to say it tasted like that? You know?
A human's imagination
Yeah.
is profound.
Do you have a favorite wine?
Do I have a favorite wine? I have favorites.
Favorites. You have a favorite category?
Oh, I like red.
Right.
But then again, I love Cabernet Sauvignon. That's, of course, is a French. It's made other places too, of course, but the most known are the Bordeaux's of France. We stayed in the Rhone Valley for a week, which was on the Côte de Rhone, and it was a wonderful village. If you think of Beauty and the Beast, and you know the street, the cobblestone street, and I walked in each morning to the baker. We stayed there a week, and the people, bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. And there was a little French bulldog who, I swear, had a human face.
And you could drink wine in the street there, right? There's open. You can drink anywhere.
Yeah,
I remember when I was
France.
Yeah, when I was there, you can just drink in the street. So I just went and bought a bottle of wine and just. Drank
It was
in the
a
street.
wonderful week. It was really, and we were driving. You see these beautiful lawns, and they weren't lawns; they were vineyards. They were grapevines.
Just miles and miles of grapevines.
So, how do you want to handle this?
Well, I don't think you've introduced yourself, so I would love
my
to
name is Bert.
know your name.
My name is Bertram Max Goldstein.
And how old are you?
I am 90 years old. I was born August 22nd, 1932.
Well, cheers to that.
Well, I don't know. Some people would say he's a scoundrel.
Who would say that?
I guess some of the attorneys on the phone. Or maybe their clients who I sued. I don't think so. I think I got along. I went to law school in 1954 at the University of Maryland Law School. I knew the dean and I knew the assistant dean. In high school, I wasn't a fraternity guy. But I did, when I got to Maryland, it was big then. Not as big as it is today, hardly. We were about a third of what it is today, but we were big, maybe 35,000. That was a lot of people for a little guy from Pimlico. And I decided that for me to survive here, knowing my lack of some discipline relative to my manner of living, meaning I could wander around and have no substance, no form to my substance. I decided I needed a smaller group. So I went the round of fraternities and joined TEP, Tau Epsilon Phi. There were 14 of us that got bids, and all 14 accepted. It was a great fraternity while I was there. They were off the campus. I got thrown off in later years. Yeah.
For what?
Being naughty boys.
What did you do?
I don't know. It happened way after me.
Oh, the fraternity got thrown off after.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fraternity
You didn't
got thrown.
cause the...
No, not me.
Okay.
We had, among the interfraternal league, it was Jews and Christians. We didn't mix at that time. So we were 100% Jewish. But Tau Beta Epsilon nationally was very liberal. And I know that some guys from Rhode Island University came down, were in the area, stayed at the house, and they were African American. So that was quite a shock for a young Jewish guys who were all raised in a segregated community. I don't know if you knew or not, but Baltimore used to be a segregated city. There was black and there was white. And there were white schools and black schools, and white public bathrooms and black public bathrooms. And growing up on Oakley Avenue, what I remember very clearly, from age 4 till we moved when I was 9, 1942. But from that period, the only African Americans I knew were maids, or the janitors, or, in those positions. So,
what was it like? Do you remember the experience of growing up and things were changing, and
of course,
yeah, can you talk to that?
Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. And things did break down. We had several black students in our class and we interacted very well together. We were all friends. And when we were graduating, we wanted to have a party. And we were having a problem finding a place where African Americans could be invited. And we ended up in there were some then checkerboard places.
Checkerboard.
Fortunately for me, in my junior year in high school, I took a job at a drugstore, pharmacy, essentially a soda jerk, on Arlington and Edmondson Avenue, which was in the heart of the segregated area. And I got to know these people. I said, wow, they're the same. I remember the guy who worked there, Sammy. The difference was Sammy went and a baby. He was a father. I used to take the trackless trolley to get to my work. Maybe 3 or 4 blocks away was Pennsylvania Avenue, and a lot of drugs and things were going on there already.
Mm-hmm. And you liked the drugs on Pennsylvania Avenue, or you didn't like the drugs on
I stayed away from Pennsylvania Avenue.
But not the drugs?
I never had drugs.
Oh, okay.
Never drugs.
Okay.
I was a boozer, but not drugs.
Gotcha.
Refill.
So we went to law school, and when I came out, I had no body. I had to go into the Army. I had so many deferments. But at those days, if you were in the top 25% of your class, you got a deferment.
What's a deferment?
I would not be drafted.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I was the oldest undrafted person in my draft board.
What are they drafting for in the 50s?
Vietnam. Most of the enlisted men were drafted.
Mm-hmm.
It ended after Vietnam. It did an end to it, put an end to it. So now I graduated law school. A group of us took the bar in July of '57. Had a bash of a party that weekend, and then got on a train on Sunday to Fort Knox. So I spent 6 months in the service. It was called universal training, military training. You spend 6 months on active duty, and you went to boot camp, and then to an area of specialization.
So would you rather be in law school or in boot camp?
That is a very interesting question. That is a very interesting question. Because I think of whatever maturity I achieved it in various states. VJ Day. The VE Day had already occurred and Germany surrendered the year before. VJ Day occurred during the week of my bar mitzvah.
Wow.
Yeah.
VJ Day?
Huh?
You said VJ Day?
VJ Day, victory over Japan.
Oh.
It was after the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima and
Actually, I have,
Nagasaki.
as somebody who was just living during a time where you saw like a bomb uncomparable to anything the world had ever seen before, like, were you thinking about that? Were you thinking about the fact that there was this like change in warfare, while you were growing up?
Scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
It scared the hell out of most people.
Yeah.
And we lived through the Cold War.
Yeah.
And it always seemed like it was imminent. And we kept building up our nuclear reserves. And Russia, both today, the United States and Russia still are the biggest nuclear possessors in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need all that. All you need is a few and you can destroy the world.
Yeah.
You practice like hiding under your desks in school.
Well, they did that.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
Yeah, it's like, there's an atomic bomb, but this desk will do us a lot of good,
Right.
Did you enjoy the work you did?
I loved it. I was a lawyer. And in the third phase of my practice, specialized in suing automobile manufacturers for design defects that were
Ford
causing
Pinto?
awful collisions and causing, of course, horrible injuries and death. And I'm saying I represented people who were certainly the survivors of the dead, but they were the lucky ones, actually. I represented a lady who had 75% of her face burned away from a bolt of fire, of flame that exited her Ford Granada, and right into her face through the gas tank. because it didn't have a proper filler pipe. It certainly involved practically 100% the law of physics. It was very complex. Not that I'm a genius, but I had to have a team of experts who essentially worked with the law of physics. The law of physics is the truth. If there is such a thing as truth, it's the law of physics. When I went to trial, I was known for having at least an opening statement of an hour. I try to keep it to an hour so the jury doesn't get bored. But it's complex as hell, but it was a story I told. And believe me, I had the notes in my hand that I wrote my opening statement on, but I had it in my hand so my hand wouldn't shake. In all the years of practice as a trial lawyer, I was nervous at that opening bell. Mm-hmm. I was nervous, and I'd have it scrunched in my hand to keep my hand from shaking. But I knew it. I had memorized it. I always loved to draw, and but I guess I could look at. Today I look through an artist's eye. I see my Bubby Goldstein, and she was gorgeous. She really, the lines of her face were perfect.
Was there someone in your life that did you say your Bubby was?
I was under a lot of pressure in the law. The law I did was tough law.
Yeah.
As you know, I did my own self-portrait, looking in a mirror.
You still have it?
I do, in my bedroom.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Yeah, I'm quite proud of it. I also have a nude done by...
a nude of you?
Huh?
A nude of you?
She's nude.
You painted a nude of somebody else?
Oh, yeah. No, I copied Monet. Did a nude. We're lying in a bed with her aide. When you come over to my apartment,
Yeah, I want to see them.
You go look at it.
Another thing I want to hear about is, where did Zadie come from? How did you become Zadie? Who picked the name Zadie? Was that something you picked it?
Yeah. That was all. That was easy.
How did that
was
feel
easy.
right? I mean, I call my grandfather Grandpa. You know.
Right.
How did Zadie? Why was
I called him Zadie, and I wanted to be Zadie.
It just felt right.
I love my Zadie. He was an interesting character. Another interesting character.
This was your grandfather, right?
My maternal grandfather. He came from a little shtetl in Lithuania. They got married there. They got married in the little town. I don't know the name of it. But he came to the United States. He had a tailor shop in Pimlico. And on Shabbos, he didn't go to shul. He was a member of the shul. He was a member of the shul. On the holidays, sometimes I sat with him in shul. But they would be downstairs. We'd come over and visit. We lived within 2 miles of my grandparents, right on Pimlico Road.
That's nice.
And I'd go downstairs to the tailor shop, eat beer with his buddies. And there's a bottle of Pikesville whiskey on the table, and they're playing cards. He read a Yiddish paper, the Jewish Forward, which was a socialist paper. I was a young teenager when he died. You guys don't have to worry about coronary artery disease. There's no such thing. Because medical science there's no such thing as clogged arteries. Anyone who dies of coronary artery disease today is an idiot. Because it's so curable.
Yeah.
His brother-in-law was a world-famous chazan, Zenobi Quarton. He came over to this country, and he was supposed to be mated with Manischewitz's daughter.
No. The maker of Manischewitz.
Manischewitz.
The
yeah.
Manischewitz
The
wine.
Manischewitz. Right.
What do you think of Manischewitz wine?
I like it.
It's true to the tradition.
Yeah.
One last thing. I just want to hear any sort of life advice that you want to give in the next couple minutes, if you have something that comes to mind.
Think your life through. Seriously. Evaluate yourself. Know your pluses and minuses. And persevere to what your goal is. If you can.
Great.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Albert. This
My
has
pleasure.
been amazing.
This has been, really.
You never got into my political philosophy.
Well, 90 years of life is hard to cover in an hour.
Oh, that's true. What time is it?
It's 4 o'clock. It's Thanksgiving. We got people coming.
Right.
Hi, sweetheart. It's Bubby. Look forward to talking to you as usual. Love you.